So, as a freelance writer, how many words can you write per day? That is the topic that I'm going to be discussing today. My main thing is that, like any skill, I think it takes practice. You just gotta put in the hours and you'll get more efficient and you'll get kind of the stamina that you can just sit down and write. At first, that's hard. So, I know when I started, I would just write like a little bit per day. So, I'd recommend starting off just try and write even 500 or 1,000 words per day, just kind of part-time or as a hobby when you're getting started. Especially if you already have a job and you're just kind of trying to transition from a full-time job into a freelance writing job. Just do it gradually, I guess. Start building those reps, just like lifting weights. You got to lift like 10 pounds and then you can go up to like 12 pounds and 15 pounds. You just keep going and building up. Same thing with writing. I think that, I don't know if it's your mind or what, but it does like really, it drains your energy writing and your mental energy especially. So you kind of build up that stamina that you can write more and more per day. When I started, I don't know if I should admit it, I guess I'm never going back there, but so when I was bored at work in the afternoon, if I was done all my work for the day, especially on like a Friday, I would just sit down and write for an hour. If my boss came back, I'd have something open so I could switch back. But basically, so I would do text broker. I was making like an extra $10 a day or whatever just to get some experience. So yeah, just do that whenever you have downtime at work. Instead of checking Facebook or the news or the weather, just open up text broker or something like that, grab a quick job and start working through it, and then gradually increase the amount that you can write in terms of both speed and just, I guess, mental willpower. You'll build that up, so eventually you can do like 1.5 articles in your downtime at work, and then you'll be able to do like 2 a day in your downtime at work. Maybe you don't want to do this every day. Maybe this is like a Friday afternoon when you're done with work anyways and you just want to chill out and write. You can do that. As a starting point, I think for beginners, if you can write 2,000 words a day, that's really good, especially if you have a full-time job. If you can do it at your full-time job, that's better because you get paid to write on top of getting paid to write. Get some nice synergy going there. I guess I wouldn't recommend that if you plan on keeping your job in the long term, but I knew that I was out of there in a couple months anyways, so I just went ahead and did that. Honestly, I think people in the workplace waste so much time anyways that I was still being just as productive as anybody else, but I'd cram my work in there, so I'd get in the morning, I'd be super productive, and then I kind of dwindle off in the afternoon, so then it's like whatever, I just write in the afternoon. Yeah, I'd say 2,000 for beginners, and then once you're a professional writer, if you really want to be earning money, I would say you should aim for 5,000 words a day. That's a good rate of words per day. For me, I can write for about 4 or 5 hours per day before I start to burn out and become less productive. I can write about 1,000 words per hour usually, depending what I'm writing. Obviously, that doesn't include research and editing. But if I'm just focusing on my writing, I can usually do 1,000 words an hour or more. That's after a couple of years experience and really building that up. And I max out, I find, at about 8,000 words per day. If I'm really pushing myself, I can do that. The most I've ever written was about 150,000 words in a month. So I had a bunch of 8,000 word days that month. I don't think you could do that consistently for months and months without getting burnt out. But I think 4,000 or 5,000 words a day, I think, is sustainable as a full-time writer. For me, I set a stretch goal of 1 million words for the last year. I didn't actually accomplish that. I stopped tracking it at some point. I estimate that I'm at more than 500,000, probably like 600,000 words that I wrote last year. I don't know how that's going to stack up this year, but yeah. If you are a fiction author as opposed to a freelance writer, I think you should aim, if you're writing a novel, you should try to write 1 novel per month. I know if you're just getting started, that sounds crazy. Most people think it takes like a year or multiple years to write a book. I just think that's not true. I was going to sit down and write a novel for NaNoWriMo in November, but too much other paid work came up, so I didn't get a chance to do that last year. Maybe I'll do it this year. But basically, if you can write 5,000 words per day for 3 weeks, That'll get you up to, I think, 75,000 words, unless my math is bad. Then you got 1 week at the end for formatting and editing. If you are an author, I recommend checking out Chris Fox on YouTube. And especially, he's got a book called 5,000 Words Per Hour. He's actually got several books that are really good for especially fiction writers. So check those out. And another tip is to just wake up earlier. I find that I'm really productive in the morning. If I wake up at 5 or 6 a.m., I can write 5,000 words before it's noon even. Some people might not be like that, but if you're an early riser, or if you have a job or you've got kids or something, try and wake up before the rest of your house is up and everything else. The world is so peaceful when you wake up at like 5 or 6 a.m. Nothing has started yet. Nobody's like emailing you or on social media yet, so you can just sit down. You can get at least an hour or two of workout in the morning before you get started. So that's my tips and my suggestion for how much you can write per day. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask me below. If you could subscribe, I'd really appreciate that. Trying to build this up so I can help as many would-be freelance writers as possible. And I'll see you guys next time.